Welcome to Old Town, Slidell, Louisiana. This is a quaint little town right outside of New Orleans. I've been coming here since I was a very young girl. I have so many wonderful memories in this sweet little town. Twice a year they have the Slidell Street Fair, which fills the streets with antiques and craft vendors, and we always came as I was growing up. Unfortunately, some of the big mainstay antique stores have suddenly closed in the last couple years, but we decided to go ahead and do a girls' trip, my mom, my aunt, and my cousin and I, and go antiquing and shopping while we still had a chance. This is the first little antique store. It is an old house in Slidell, and it is filled with antiques and collectibles. I mean, you can see every room is completely filled up. I actually found something funny. We had just had a conversation about breastfeeding, of all things, and I found this little mug. I thought it was funny, and so I had to make a joke about it because that's who I am. Oh, let's get with your mom. Aunt Teresa. Since Aunt Teresa misses breastfeeding so much. Where is she? Aunt Teresa. Where'd she go? Teresa. Where you at? Since you miss breastfeeding so much.
Oh, don't take a picture of me.
Sorry, I literally have the sense of humor of a third grader. Moving along, I always spot some cats. I love cats so much. I have a collection of tiny cats. They are super, super small, and I just love them so much. This booth was full of children's clothes, really cute, and then a more rustic booth with tons of antlers. As you can see, they're just piled up everywhere. And then moving on into the back of the house, this booth was just full of a bunch of different sort of collectibles. There were some vintage records. I always check out the vintage records. And then I spotted this adorable little outfit. It was a leather sheriff's vest and a little skirt. I wish I had a little girl because it was just so cute. But unfortunately, I don't think my little boys would appreciate wearing something like that, so I did put it back. And then I just love the lighting on this painting so much. It was so pretty. Very ethereal. And massive. And a cute little cherub. So this booth is all vintage clothing, and it fills one whole side of the antique store. These were a bunch of vintage boots on a mid-century modern glider, which I loved. It said, if the boot fits, buy it in every color. And I just love that. So many boots. Boots on the glider, boots on the wall, on the shelves. This is the men's section of this booth, so you can see there's tons of vintage clothes. Just, I mean, all the way down the side of this whole antique store. Very cool. And you'll see me start to go through some of the vintage men's ties. I didn't find anything this day, but I'm always looking at the pattern, the brands, whether they're a skinny tie, whether they're a wide tie, and then of course the condition of the ties. I just didn't find anything that really spoke to me. They had some really pretty patterns like this one, but I just wasn't feeling it, and so I didn't end up picking up any of the ties. But the ties are a good section to even go through in the thrift store. You never know, you might find some treasures in there. Definitely some designer brands. I have found a bunch of Dior. You can find Hermes. Hermes will go through it for a very lot of money, so definitely pick those up. And so yeah, definitely check out the tie section because ties can be a good return on your money. I just loved this yellow tie so much and thought about getting it, but I didn't end up getting it. Okay, and now you can see a little bit more of the long booth that is in this antique store. This is a children's section, so children's shoes, toys. There are some hard goods, mid-century modern hard goods, and some more of children's clothes. Very cute. And then starts the women's clothes, which will take up the majority of this booth. You can see the nightgowns. There are so many. I mean, it could take you all day to go through all this. Here's some more boots. Those were, yep, Sears boots. So still have the tags on them. Loved this very 80s dress, like the pattern on the skirt. And I think I was looking for the brand. Now I'm making my way down into the rest of the booth. They had this awesome beaded, sparkly number right when I walked down, caught my eye. And then lots of women's shoes. She definitely knows her vintage. I checked out a couple of them, see the brands. These boots were really cool, but they were $75, so didn't get those. This booth would be a great booth to do some shopping for yourself, not so much for resale, because she obviously has the prices marked at a resale value. She probably thrifts a lot of these or goes to estate sales. Love these 100% silk dresses from the 80s and 90s, fully beaded. I'm just a sucker for those. Very over the top, very extra. But the prices that she has things at, you really wouldn't be able to get much of a profit on them. This would be a great place to do some vintage shopping for yourself. She has so much good stuff. And I'm making my way over to the skirts. I just love skirts so much, especially cotton printed skirts with pockets. Those are just my go-to everyday clothing. Unfortunately, I couldn't resell that because it was $32. So even if I sold it for $50, I wouldn't make much of a profit on it. So that was a no-go. Just checking out prices and patterns. Oh, I just love these pants. They remind me so much of Farm Rio, which is really hot right now, with that big pattern print. And these cool sailor pants, very cool. And $60, so yeah, that's a no-go. But it's still neat to look and see. It was a split back skirt. I love that pattern, very 70s. That one had sequins on it. And she had coats and hats. She has accessories. So many fun hats. And this was another small antique store. The lady who ran it is unfortunately sick, and so it has been rented out to a new tenant. So there wasn't as much of antiques and collectibles that there normally are. I thought this was a really cool old hardware counter from back in the day. Very cool, probably turn of the century. Just really dug all the compartments. And then, of course, the cats. The cats always get me. And this was the last little antique store we went to this day. It's a really big store, and a lot of the vendors or dealers in this antique store moved over from one of the big ones that closed. So I was happy to see that. That's my aunt and my cousin shopping. I think my cousin was looking for an antique clarinet to add to her collection of clarinets. If you have more than two of anything, it's a collection. Of course, I made my way over to the dresses. I'm automatically drawn to the clothing these days, and I did find a ModCloth dress, but it was $25, so I passed on it. And then I was so drawn in this pretty little case to these porcelain painted roses. They were actually place card holders, and I love to throw dinner parties and use all kinds of serving and decorative items when I have dinner parties. Of course, I'm over here looking at the Pyrex. I collect Pyrex, I collect mid-century glassware and bakeware, and so I'm always on the lookout to add to my collection. And every once in a while, these days, I will source some to resell. And then I found this cute salt and pepper shaker set. It was John Wayne with a pair of boots. I thought it was really cute. All right, last stop is Goodwill. They have one Goodwill store in Slidell. If you see those big blue bins to the right, people were lining up in their cars and dropping off items. So I think the store had just opened, because when we got inside, we were shocked at really how bare the store was. It was pretty empty. So I have a feeling that all those drop-offs were happening because Goodwill had just opened and there wasn't as much inventory. So the haul I show you in just a few minutes was not as big as I normally have, but that's okay. It was still a wonderful day with my mom and my aunt and my cousin, and I'm grateful for always making memories. I do definitely miss having my grandmother along with us. She had a famous saying when we would get to the Slidell Street Fair. She would say, "Dismount and fight on foot," as we exited our vehicle. So I do miss that, and I miss her. Hey y'all, it's Victoria. I am back from my little trip to Slidell with my mom and my aunt and my cousin. So if you don't know where Slidell is a little town that is outside of New Orleans. It is about 40 minutes from our house. So it's actually on our way to New Orleans. It is this quaint little town I've been going to for a very long time. They have something called the Slidell Street Fair twice a year. I've been going since I was a young girl. The little town is known for all their cool antique stores, and the Slidell Street Fair used to be the majority antiques and some crafts. Nowadays it's a lot more crafts than antiques, and some of our favorite antique stores have now closed, unfortunately. So the town has definitely dwindled, and it's kind of sad because I have a lot of memories of going with my mother and my grandmother, and my grandmother has since passed away. So it's kind of a lot of memories rooted in this little town. But we were able to go into a couple of antique stores, and I did purchase one thing at the last antique store we went to, and I only paid a whopping $5 for this bag. They actually had 3 of this style of bag, but the other 2, the plastic lining was dry rotted. But it is this really cool butterfly bag. It has this cool Bakelite handle, sort of in a tortoise shell. What really caught my eye was the butterfly pattern. I thought it was super neat and super cute. And what's also cool about it is I noticed this side was folded up. Well, it actually has snaps, so you can unsnap it and it can be a larger tote bag. And then it's got a plastic lining in the inside, so it's easy to like wipe down. This one's in great condition. I am gonna wipe down the Bakelite plastic handles, but overall it was really cute and a super great find for $5. Let me snap it back. I originally bought this bag to resell it, but I kind of like it, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. But anyway, I thought I couldn't pass it up for $5. So before we left Slidell, I did talk my family into dropping in the one and only Goodwill in Slidell. I believe that their Goodwill had just opened because there was a line of cars, I mean car after car after car, dropping off loads of stuff. They had these huge big blue bins out front, and they had staff outside that were just grabbing the stuff from people as they drove up and putting them in the bins. I mean, they had like, I think like 4 or 5 workers outside. And then we went inside the store, it was kind of bare. So that was surprising considering how much inventory they were getting in. But someone pointed out that the sign did say now open, so I think maybe their Goodwill just opened. If you haven't watched the news, New Orleans was a big hotspot for COVID. They think that part of that is because Mardi Gras is a big thing down here, but not just in Louisiana, but also Mississippi and Alabama. We have tons of Mardi Gras parades, and Mobile's actually where they believe that Mardi Gras started. So in Alabama and Mississippi Gulf Coast, we have our own Mardi Gras, and of course New Orleans is the big one where everybody travels to come to the parades in New Orleans. It's a lot of fun. So, but there were so many people and nobody knew about COVID at the time, and so they think that was a big spreader in Louisiana. So Louisiana probably is a little more cautious about opening because they were one of the hot spots in the country. And so that may be why Slidell is just now opening a couple weeks after the Goodwills opened in Mississippi. So I didn't get tons of stuff because the store was pretty bare. The first thing I picked up were these Michael Kors heels. So they are, they have a platform and they are probably at least a 4-inch, maybe a 5-inch heel. And then they have the big peep toe with the Michael Kors logo. They are leather. They're in good condition. The leather just needs to be cleaned up. There is one spot over here. It looks like they stepped in gum that I'll have to get off, but they were only $4.99. So, and I think they may have given me a discount too, because when the lady rang me up, it was only like $21. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but anyway, thought these were cute for $4.99. I could definitely make a profit on them. And so I went ahead and picked these up. I don't always pick up Michael Kors anymore. They don't resell like they used to, especially when I first started reselling, but I thought this was a good deal for $4.99. So the next item is a brand that I love to sell. I usually make a really nice profit on these. This is Eliza J, and it's this pretty navy blue lace top and then A-line skirted dress. It's got the front pleating. It's like a stacked pleat. And then it has lace on the bottom. And the only thing that is wrong with this dress is that it has belt loops, so there is no belt. But a lot of the Eliza J dresses that I have sold had belts that are now missing, and that doesn't deter people from buying it. They are quality. You see the Eliza J zipper pull. These dresses retail for a lot, but you can also make maybe $55 or $60 on one of the dresses depending on the style. So I went ahead and picked this up. The next item I found, I don't normally get this brand, but I love this style. This style skirt sells really quick for me. I have a couple others in my Poshmark closet, and then I've sold a whole bunch of them. But it is this cute little leather pleated skirt, and it is by J. Crew. It's a size 6. And I picked it up primarily on style. I don't sell a lot of J. Crew. That's not to say J. Crew doesn't sell. I just don't sell a lot of it, but I know a lot of other people do. But I picked this up basically on style. Okay, so I was standing in the checkout line, and again, another brand I don't usually get, but this is a leather bag, so I decided I'd try it. It's by The Sack. So The Sack makes a lot of those crocheted bags. You can find those pretty much anywhere. But the reason why I was interested in this bag is it was this pretty wine color. It's got suede panels on the sides, pockets. It's got this tassel detail that says The Sack, and then it's got the leather detailing. So, and then the interior of it, the interior was nice and clean, and I believe this was $3.99. I thought that was a good price for this bag, and so I got that. And then also while I was waiting in line, a brand that I have never found, which I was so excited. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that we don't get tons of high-end brands where I live, but I was excited to find these Theory pants. They're in this really pretty pink color. They're trousers, they're wide leg trousers. They are 96% virgin wool. So very pretty, very nice. They have the traditional welt pockets on the back. These are just nice dress pants. So I was excited to find some Theory. So that was my little haul from our trip to Slidell. I definitely think my favorite find was the butterfly tote bag, but it's just fun. It's fun to go sourcing. I feel like the picking hasn't been too great for me lately, but that's okay. I mean, I'm just trying to stockpile as much as I can in case something happens again with the virus and we have to go back into a stay home order. So, yeah, I'm happy to get whatever I can and anything that I can make a little bit of money on and move my business forward. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you'll subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Bye.